Member for Essex.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I thank my colleague from Rosemount, Petit Patrie, for his passionate speech here today about tax fairness and the importance of tax fairness. And really, my question to him is about the Liberals breaking their promise that they stood here and voted with the NDP in March on to end the CEO stock option tax loopholes, to end the elimination of offshoring, to talk about these inequalities that are about $800 million a year. I just wonder if he shares that frustration with me about this narrow scope that we're being brought by the government today, and if he could speak on that.
The honourable member for Rosemont La Petite Patrie has 10 seconds. Excellent question, excellent comment. The consultations were in the middle of the summer, far too short. They were haphazard. It ended yesterday, the consultation period. People would like to see a broader consultation on the whole host of tax measures.
Debate, reprise au débat, l'honorable député.
The honourable member for Essex.
Madam Speaker, I rise today to talk about tax fairness for the farmers and the small business owners in my riding. My riding of Essex is a rural riding with 5 municipalities where towns are filled with small businesses, and the space between them is filled with gorgeous farm fields. We have some of the richest soil in Canada and the largest number of acreage under glass in our greenhouse sector. The hardworking people in Essex are so angry and confused by this consultation by the Liberal government, which is now officially closed. These are hardworking people who have now been told that they did something wrong, that they are tax cheats, or that they were intentionally not paying their fair share. Madam Speaker, paying our fair share is something that is deeply important to New Democrats. Fighting for fairness is the foundation of all of our work. Fair share is a phrase that we use with pride about our contribution to our communities. We pay taxes to our government so that we can collectively take care of each other. And Canadians place trust in the government to fairly distribute the wealth of our society so that we all benefit from services that keep our communities healthy and thriving. This is a basic tenet here in Canada. It's one of the things that I love about Canada, and why I ran to become an MP was to protect and fight for our social services and for their equal delivery. And this is why so many of the people in my riding are also very proud to pay their taxes, to pay their fair share. They work hard for their families, for their communities, for their family traditions and their family businesses and farms. They pay that fair share, and they work to pay for the health of their community as well. This summer, when the consultation started, there was a lot of rhetoric being thrown around by the Liberal government about tax fairness. People in my riding were being told that they were cheating the system, that they were taking away from that community that they love and help to build, where we were raised and where they raised their children, instead of adding to it. Not only did they feel targeted by this language, they were using a system that was in fact perfectly legal, and one that they had been encouraged to use to grow. They understand and support tax fairness. But the main question I get is, why did the Liberals only bring in these proposals where they're only looking at small businesses? Where was the consultation on CEO stock option loopholes, or the consultation on how we end offshoring and snow washing? The Panama Papers came up quite a bit, Madam Speaker. I understand why farmers and small business owners are angry. What I can't understand is this government limiting the scope and the time of this debate in Canada. This government has many opportunities to bring forward real and tangible tax fairness. I believe in tax fairness, but real tax fairness, not this limited version being proposed by the government. Real tax fairness could have come when New Democrats stood in this House in March and introduced a motion to eliminate tax havens and the CEO stock option loophole. Why should CEOs be able to hide their salary and stock options to keep from paying their fair share? The NDP proposed the elimination of the tax break on stock options used by rich CEOs, a loophole that costs the government and communities $800 million per year. The government voted in favor of our motion, but has done nothing to address the issue. And Madam Speaker, I heard them talk about the provisions in the budget that they brought forward, but this does not end this loophole. This does not eliminate the loophole, and these are very different things. Real tax fairness could have been accomplished by the Liberals if they had passed my colleague, Private Member's Bill C-274. This bill would have helped small business owners like farm and fishing businesses transfer between family members. Madam Speaker, we have a system in Canada where farmers pay less tax if they sell their family farm to a stranger than if they sell it to a family member. How on earth is that fair? But again, the government, who says on a constant basis how much they care about farmers, voted against this bill, which would have made it fairer to succession plan, something that Canadian farm families are struggling with across the country. I recently spoke with a farmer in my riding who told me that he and his wife had taken on payments to be able to buy the farm from his parents. They have a 16-year commitment to do this, and now they are very worried that they've made the wrong decision and will pay the price for this government's complete lack of understanding about farm management. This is not a multi-million-dollar farmer, Madam Speaker. This is a family who is teaching their children how to farm and keeping our community in fresh local food. Now, instead of the government using viable options to make our tax system more fair, to tackle the real and serious problem of inequality, this government has put forward these consultations, which are now over. Madam Speaker, when we talk about income inequality in Canada, this is a real and serious issue for all. Recently, the census revealed that Canada's income level of inequality has worsened over the past 12 years. Due to past government inaction, the richest 1% of our population has seen a rise in their median income of 14%. According to the census data, the richest 1% now makes 6.8 times more than a worker making Canada's median wage of $34,204 in 2015. The changes that the government is consulting on will do nothing to alleviate this gap. In the Windsor-Essex area, the United Way says about 1/4 of our youth live in poverty, which means that in 2013, 19,900 children under the age of 17 lived in families where the income was less than $17,000 per year. We need to seriously address this gap and work hard to close it. That is why this consultation must include all avenues to do that, not just the narrow scope that the government has introduced. In fact, it was in the Liberals' platform to address these inequalities. But this measure is so limited in scope that people are learning once again that the Liberals say one thing during an election and never follow through. If they are serious about helping small businesses, then where is the small business tax reduction? Something that all parties in this House committed to during the campaign. Madam Speaker, we are 2 years in to the mandate and we still have not seen this proposal come forward, which is so incredibly important to the 98% of our businesses in this country that are small and medium-sized businesses. If, Madam Speaker, the Liberals are serious about helping small business, then where is this helpful proposal coming on? Where is the legislation to ensure that businesses can see the tax reduction that they were promised and, quite honestly, were moving forward and producing their future on? So another broken promise to our most important job creators. Madam Speaker, no one in Canada today thinks that the Liberals are standing up for small businesses. I want to talk about the consultations for a minute. These consultations release a tidal wave of misinformation that has only scared and worried people across the country. The government caught Canadians off guard, leaving many small business owners and farmers in Essex wondering about the vague language, the implications of the proposals, and many others are confused by the complexities of the reforms. And Madam Speaker, I heard some Liberals today in the House talking about whether or not the NDP would vote on this. To my knowledge, there is nothing to vote on at this point. We don't know what's going to be proposed. We kind of have some vague understanding, but again, this confusion that exists for our small business owners and farmers. The Liberals launched these consultations in mid-July and they are over as of yesterday. How could they have not realized that this time of year would be problematic for farmers? This is harvest season, And for many farmers, they won't be able to get to their accountants or their tax planners in time to get detailed advice about how these potential changes to the tax system could affect them. I know when I'm traveling in my riding, I'm seeing all of the tractors running full speed, and it's been very tough for those farmers to connect because they simply have to be on the farm during this critical time. I also don't understand why the government has decided to rush the consultation process. Surely it makes sense for them to post their proposals and wait for honest, well-thought-out feedback. Why don't they give everyone the time to study these changes? Madam Speaker, if the Liberals are serious about tax fairness, then they will expand the scope, extend the deadline, and have a true comprehensive review. That's why, Madam Speaker, I move, seconded by the member for Rosemont-La Petite Patrie, that the motion be amended, A, by deleting the words, will have a drastic negative impact on small and medium-sized local businesses, and replacing them by the following: unfairly target small businesses while ignoring the largest abuses of Canada's tax system. And B, by adding after the word measures, the following: and to expand the consultations to include measures targeting large corporations, loopholes for CEOs, and tax havens. Thank you, Madam Speaker.